welcome back after the break, and joining me is our pending gold medalist, gold medalist, Alexei Molchanov of Russia, and he completed successfully a 126-meter, very impressive looking constant weight dive. So tell us a little about that.
Well, it was a great dive. Like I felt really strong on the surface. It just there was a bit of pressure on the last 30 seconds, and it was a bit of heart rate, elevated heart rate for me, when I know there is no room for mistake for me. So it's a white card for previous athlete, and I know it's like I need to do everything perfect, like the tag, everything. So I was a bit like worried. I was a bit nervous for sure. But it was cool. It was a good drama. It was a good drama.
It was really good drama. You know, you have been so far and above everyone in constant weight the last couple of years. You haven't had anyone on your level that's really pushing you.
I always remembered about Dave because I know he's a very strong athlete. So I always considered him as someone my level. That's no doubt for sure. We have a next diver ready to dive, so let's just focus on him, and I will tell a bit more after this dive.
Yes, over here on the blue platform we have Piotr Lorenowicz from Poland. He's announced an 87-meter dive, getting ready to go right now.
All right.
And he's off.
There we go. The dive time will be 3:20, which is pretty long dive time for today's dive. Let's see. They launched the dive ice, so it should catch up soon. There was some maintenance going on with it.
We're waiting here for our dive eye driver, Mikhail, to get it going for us, and so we can see what's happening here on this dive.
Probably he's about 30 meters now, 25 meters.
Yeah, it looks like we're not getting a transmission, so we don't know where it is.
But it should be soon. Let's hope it's soon.
We're just waiting here. So Alex, go ahead and let's go. Oh, there he is. We see 51 meters. We still don't seem to have our picture yet. There it is. There he is. Oh, he's going to do an early turn. Looks like it was about 50 some meters. So we missed what was happening there. I don't know if he was having
equalization or nerves as well.
That's unfortunate. Something happened with him on that dive.
Technique is strong. You can see that he's pushing really strongly and going up pretty fast.
We had asked Dave to join us after his dive, and he was waiting around during the break, but then he gave up on us and went back on the boat. So we'll try to catch him another day and get some words from Dave. He was anxious to return to shore, so if we hadn't been on break, I could have grabbed him, but he didn't want to wait. I talked to Alex into waiting.
Okay, so
Here he comes. He's coming to the surface
surfacing. And let's see the expression he have, if he's a bit upset or what happened, any words.
He doesn't look very happy.
He doesn't look very happy. No. Probably a sticky ear or something. Like that can happen.
Yeah, no, he's not happy. He's just leaving the competition.
That's like I had some cases where I had sticky ear in the competition. And that's not anything like unusual in a stressful environment.
And that's a red card because he didn't do his protocol. He chose not to. That was his. He's disappointed, and he just didn't do it. So that was his choice. He could have gotten a yellow card, but he didn't want to bother with it.
There was a little bit too much penalty points probably because the was 87 and he dove 60, so a little bit minus almost 30 points.
Yeah, it's hardly worth it. Sometimes you can. It could theoretically be negative points, although we don't go anything less than 0. But you get subtracted 1 point per meter under what you have announced. So that's something. And plus the 1 point for no tag. So the rule is made to to make athletes announce the realistic depth and don't announce too deep. Right? Because if they announce too deep, then they're risking being injured. And that's why there is extra penalties for going shallow. And you're rewarded for kind of making an accurate announcement on what you're actually going to do. So that's kind of how that goes. So.
So there is next dive in 2 minutes.
Yeah, Piero Gugliobi from
Gugliobi.
Sweden.
Yeah.
And he's announced a 90-meter dive in 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
It should be pretty quick dive.
Yeah, he's anticipating going pretty fast. So,
So actually, I did some interview to Dive IT team. So maybe when there will be addition of the video where we'll have some feedback. But in short words, it was a very, let's say, confident and this number. Like I did these dives a lot of the times. So I did a lot of the dives between 125 and 130 meters, and it was very confident and very, how do you say, like routine. Not a routine. No, it's not like, it's still very deep dive. It's like 3 meters short of world record, so it's really deep dive. But it was conservative. I could say it was conservative, and that's why I was able to manage the stress and manage their anxiety, like being diving after the previous white card diver, David Mullins. And I'm very happy about it. And I was trying to, on the way down, I was like trying to calm myself down, calm my heart rate, and I was thinking that, or just trying to turn it into the game. Like, okay, we're just diving and we're two buddy freedivers, and we're just doing the same depths, like two good buddies. That's it. And
except it is the World Championship switch.
I was not thinking about World Championship. I was thinking like, okay, me and Dave were like going together, and we're like two comrades, two druggies, yeah, we're two comrades, and like we're having fun, like doing deep dive, and that's what I like to do. Like I was diving a couple of days ago with a monofin in training, and I was not doing relatively shallow dive to practice 110 meters, and I was just enjoying the deep dives. Like I was thinking about how much I like to do deep dives, just like
were you surprised
with the monofin.
by Dave's announcement?
No, I knew exactly what he was going to announce, like 126, pretty much. I was confident 99% that he'll do on 126.
Despite the fact that he had equalization issues?
Despite the fact that he had equalization issues, yeah.
There's no surprise.
I was reading, I even though like William Trubridge is known to be a poker gamer, I can guess pretty well for like, and we didn't see Dave for many years, but I still know him pretty much. Okay, let's go back to Pierre, and I'll go rest and be ready for the next dive.
Yeah, and here goes
so you go.
Pierre.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to mention that since Dave and Alexei both announced the same depth when we made the start list last night, we flipped a coin to determine who went first.
Yeah.
So it was completely fair.
It was completely fair. It was the coin.
It was a coin toss. So I said, well, we've got to do something to make sure that we don't choose one over the other or give one an advantage. So that's what we did. All right. Thank you, Alexei.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a good commentary.
We will, and you go rest, and congratulations
on
a
I'll
beautiful,
go rest.
beautiful dive. We have Walid Bouhdayab of Tunisia joining us now. And Walid, let's take a look at Piero's dive and tell us what you think about this.
You can see the technique of his freediver is, he has a nice technique on the first 30 meters, and then something interesting. He keeps on putting his arms in above his head the whole way during the free fall, which is not the most relaxed way to free fall, but it's probably its advantage is to gain a bit of speed. You can see also that he's spinning around the rope, which probably makes him lose a lot of
He's
time.
Going a little. He's going a little
yeah,
further
well, the free
in the
fall
process.
is really weird. Yeah, the free fall is not the best. Well, it seems he has some equalization problems.
Yeah, but he's made the plate, so...
He made it to the plate.
Yeah.
And now the way up. Let's see how it goes. The free fall is, I would say, the most important part of the dive in terms of energy, in order to save energy and oxygen. So it influences a lot the way you do the ascent afterward. But he looks strong and steady. Good technique, I would say. He's bending a bit too much the knees, but a lot of freedivers use this way of of kicking on the way up.
Yeah, and well, a lot of them use it, like Goran Cholak is quite the knee kicker, and he's very successful with it. You know, there's different styles, but he does a lot of gym work. He's very, very strong in the legs.
Absolutely.
So, but there isn't necessarily a right and wrong way. You sort of have to find out what works for you. Depending upon your muscles and your training and what you can do. You can see all three safeties are with him now, guiding him to the surface. Photographer is coming in, and he's almost there.
He's almost there.
Yeah. So we'll see how he looks when he comes up. And
surface.
Breaking the surface now. He's very high on the line, which is nice because we've got some swell here today.
Yeah.
And a lot of boat traffic, which is complicating things. So.
Yeah, the wind shifts a little bit. Now it's blowing onshore, so it provokes that little swell on the surface, but it's still manageable.
Well, considering some places, this is still really good conditions. So
we had great conditions during the whole event.
All right, let's see what the judges say. We're just waiting for the card for Piero, and it's a white card. Very nice job for him.
Awesome.
Very nice. All right, very good. Well, for those of you who were watching us the other day on the men's free immersion, you may recall that Walid had a little bit of a problem on his dive, and he's come back to join us today. So I want you all to know that Walid is fine, as you can see. And well, Walid, do you want to tell us what happened and maybe explain to our viewers, you know, what occurred there and the protocol for what we do following when a diver has a problem like that?
Yeah, well, basically I had quite a bad blackout, actually, my worst, the worst I ever had. So it's not something I was very happy with. So it was weird because it's depth I managed to do several times before. And even during the training, so it's not an announcement, a risk announcement I had done or anything. Basically, I was very, I would say, stressed out and nervous the minutes and the seconds before the dive. I saw Alexei surfacing on the next line and being DQ'd. Maybe I think, well, it's surely adds a little bit of a lot of anxiety. I felt my heartbeat quite high at that moment. Yeah, well, I was thinking at some time about when I saw also that William didn't make the dive to abort a little bit earlier, but it was very hard to know exactly where, and then as I felt the way down so easy and good as usual, I decided to make it, and had some problems when going up. Should we?
Yeah, we've got Pepe Salcedo now. We'll continue this in just a minute. Pepe is from Mexico. He's announced 86 meters and a dive time of 2 minutes and 30 seconds. He's getting ready to go. See how Pepe does. Pepe is quite a vivacious character, I would say, outgoing kind of guy, and kind of knows everybody, and always involved in everything. Let's see how he does. Boat noise back behind us. Excuse us for that. Pepe's on his way. He's moving pretty quickly there. Looks like he's kicking pretty hard.
Yeah, so Pepe Salcedo announced the time of 2:30.
Yep, 2:30.
86 meters.
Yeah.
Which is quite speedy.
Yeah, the average is about 1 meter per second for those of you who are new watching us. But for men, 1 meter per second is about it. Right now he's at 1.3 meters per second, but he's coming into his free fall, and you do go slower when you're free falling because you're not using the fin to propel yourself. So it's a nice detail they've added us here for Dive Eye, that we get to see how fast they're going. Now he's at less than 1 meter per second.
Yeah, it's a very good indicator about things like the technique, the way you do the first meters of the descent, because the most important thing is the impulse you take when you start the free fall, and you could see that Pepe slowed down quite a lot during the free fall. So he's at 80 now.
Yeah, he's almost there. Let's see
he's
how
almost
Pepe
there.
does. And he's at the plate. nice one for Pepe. He's going to grab the tag, come back up. He's got the tag secured. Well, now we'll see how Pepe's had a little trouble with hypoxia once he gets to the surface. That is quite common in the last few meters. As the pressure changes, sometimes it can have some kind of detrimental effects when the person is trying to regain their composure. Let's see how Pepe does with that.
He's still keeping his arms alongside the body.
He's at 50 meters. Now he's moving them up.
Yeah, now he must.
He's using a lot of knee bend in that kick. He's moving right along.
His kicking is very frequent.
Yes, it is. Kind of small, but frequently with a little less amplitude. Looks like it's getting a little tired. His lactic is setting in a little bit. I think he's probably up. Those legs are starting to hurt a little bit. He's slowing down though. He's getting near the surface and going to use his positive buoyancy to get him up to the top. He's coming up now. He's looking to see how far he's going to go. He's trying to relax. I think relaxing when you get closer kind of helps you gain your composure. Would you agree with that, Waleed?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and then you have to play with that
comes.
also.
Let's hope he gets his breaths in. Oh, nice.
That was a nice one.
Yeah. He's got Lena Balta coaching him. Lena is actually Serbian, but she's lived in Mexico for a number of years. She's now a resident of California, and but she speaks Spanish, so she was coaching him in Spanish. Respira means breathe in Spanish, for those of you who aren't familiar with the term. When you come up, sometimes you're a little muddled, and you need a coach to remind you. Nice job for Pepe. Very nice. Getting back to Waleed's little problem he had the other day, you know, it just reminds us again how important it is to not dive alone. Because, you know, because you have this amazing safety team here following you.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, we have great safeties when we have great doctors here, just in preparation for anything happening. And because of that, you know, as you can see now, Waleed's just fine. Now, if that same thing had occurred and he was by himself, it may not have been such a successful outcome. So, just to remind you, even though you think you may be doing something safe, you're not diving deep, you're just spearfishing, taking photos, snorkeling around or whatever, do not dive alone, ever. Always have somebody with you. You never know what might happen. I mean, you could be stung by a jellyfish or have an interaction with a coral that, and you can get a bad reaction. Something can happen. So please just remember always to have someone with you. In our circumstances here, you know, safety is our #1 concern, and you know, Waleed can address that a little bit, you know, about your care and
the safety team. They did an amazing job, and they were very fast on reacting and doing everything in the best way they could. So I would first of all like to thank them a lot, and I think they're doing an amazing job here. It's not easy with so many competitors. It's really a very, very tough job.
Yeah, and they are the first ones out in the morning and the last ones to leave at night. After the competition part of the day, they will stay out here and supervise training. The training is supervised with the same sort of diligence that the competition dives are, so they work very, very hard. I know one of my roommates is a safety diver, and I try to grab lunch and have it ready because they miss their meals, and it's a very long day. They try to bring some things out here for them, but certainly not like being able to be at the buffet at the hotel. So they work very hard, and they are excellent divers, and they are highly trained in this position. And for those of you interested in our sport, and maybe you don't want to compete but you love freediving, there's always openings for people to assist on the platform as a safety or as an administrative helper, doing countdowns, watching the sonar. There's all kinds of positions. So next up we have Jens Schechner from Germany. He is going to be diving a 86 meter dive in dive time of 2:40. Getting ready to go. You can hear the countdown. The diver has 29 seconds in which to leave after they reach official top. They have got to submerge their airway before the 30 seconds is announced. And Jens is on his way. Jens has been diving for quite some time. Have you had a chance to train with him and get to know him a little bit, Wally?
Not personally. I saw his name on some competitions lists in the past. I haven't had a chance to dive with him.
Yeah, he's usually in Europe. You know, he's European, so he competes in Europe a lot. He was at the World Championships last year, the Team World Championships, and and he was recently at a training session that I attended in Munich, and we went to a lake, an alpine lake that was just stunning. But I was really impressed with the fortitude of the local freediving clubs in Germany. The water is cold in the lake and very green.
Okay,
so Jens is on his way. He's getting into his position here.
Very nice streamline.
Yeah.
You can see very efficient free fall, I would say. A bit slow though, but nice position. Well, you can see he's doing some movements with his hands.
Steering himself a little bit.
Yeah, no, he's having some trouble to stay streamlined.
Yeah.
That's quite, I know the feeling. It's quite annoying when we're down there.
Coming down to the plate, getting his tag, and he's on his way back up. I'm sure he'll be very pleased if he can get through the protocol and get a white card on this dive. We've come into the position now where it's most likely that, and barring some very strange things that would happen during protests, that the medal winners were in our first half, and the second half would just be divers trying to make a personal best and get some experience. But it's always great. They can also achieve a national record, and we have a couple of those coming up, which is great. So Jens is kicking up a little bit with his knees.
Yeah, I would say too much of bending on the knees, but he's reaching the safeties. Now he's very close to the surface. Just some more meters to go.
Yeah, here he comes. We noticed when we were watching Dave and Alexi that at 126 meters it was actually getting kind of dark, which we haven't seen. But at that depth it was dark. It's so beautiful and clear here. Let's see how Jens does with his protocol. He looks strong. Just removing his goggles. Way up on the line, trying to keep that airway clear of the water. Now he just has to wait for the decision. He looks happy, so I think he feels good about this. So let's see what the judges say. It seems like a long time sometimes, doesn't it, to wait while the judges are deciding.
Yeah.
We do have a minimum time they have to keep you. A white card. Very nice for him. Well done for sure. That's nice. And now back on the blue platform, we will have Alfredo Rosado of Ecuador, and he is our only competitor from Ecuador in this competition. He's going for a national record of 83 meters. I know Walid knows Alfredo. Why don't you tell us a little bit about him? Yeah,
Alfredo is a close friend. He's actually he's a freediver with a lot of experience. I think he started before a lot of us here, maybe some 15 or 20 years ago. He's been on the freediving scene. He's originally at first a pool freediver, and he's doing an amazing dynamics and statics in the pool.
Yeah, I didn't know he was a pool.
Yeah, he's very strong with the bifins too. I can't recall the number exactly, but he just did some record in dynamics with the bifins. He's a very strong guy and very strong diver too. He's less used to the sea and the depth, but he was at our competition a few months ago, and he did very well too. He's a very conservative freediver too, and I think he has more experience than a lot of us. Yeah, I was telling our viewers the other day when he was diving that he is getting AIDA Ecuador on track and wants to get that to be
a strong, vibrant organization, and he's planning to host a competition in the Galapagos, which is very exciting for a lot of us for many reasons, especially just because the Galapagos is such a well-known place for the diversity of...
It's just amazing. I was there 1 month ago. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, so he wants to have a competition, so let's encourage Alfredo to get that going, and you can contact us at AIDAinternational.org and ask about that. And right now we've got Pepe Salcedo with a white card from Mexico who's joining us. He's unhooking his lanyard so he can sit down, fresh out of the water. And we'll let Alfredo start, and then Pepe will tell us about his dive.
Top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
It's always a little scary when somebody waits till the very end, because you don't want them to get disqualified because they just waited 1 second too long. So I always am glad to see them go. So here he is. He's on his descent.
We can appreciate his technique. Very nice technique, I would say.
So Pepe, congratulations. Tell you that must have felt good. You looked very strong on the surface.
Yes, I've managed their nervous to stay away for today.
Okay, good.
And good friend coached me.
Oh, you had a very strong coach, and our friend Lena,
yes.
A very nice, loud, clear voice, keeping you on track, making sure you don't doze off on us.
Yeah, I usually don't have a coach. That's why I'm always afraid to have a good one, because then I'll get used to it, and the day I don't have it, I won't manage.
But it's necessary. Here at the World Championships, it is necessary to have a good coach.
Yeah,
because
it's definitely helped.
Yeah, with the nerves and everything, and you need someone to speak loudly and clearly, because sometimes your head's just not quite in it. When
you're just right in the edge, and it's very helpful to have somebody push you on the right side.
Here's Alfredo coming to the plate. He's getting his tag and coming up. Let's see how he looks on his ascent, his technique. Waleed, what do you think?
Yeah, as I said before, he's a pool freediver. He has a lot of experience with the monofin, the pool, the bifins too. So you can see also his strength. Look at the way he kicks and then almost glides, which is very unusual at that depth.
He's actually got the personal goal to eventually reach 100 meters in depth. Being a pool freediver, he just jumped into this other part of the sport and enjoyed it very much. And he has a lot of wisdom to share because he's been doing this for a long time.
Yeah.
Would you two like to do a little commentary in Spanish for our Spanish viewers, since you're both Spanish speakers? Waleed is the man of many languages, as a matter of fact. But will two of you just say hello to all of our Spanish viewers and give them a little summary of what you've experienced here at this competition?
Bueno, un saludo a todos en toda Latinoamérica. Yo sé que nos están viendo en muchos países, en México, en Colombia. Ahí estamos viendo a Alfredo Rosado, que con su técnica muy fuerte está llegando ya casi a la superficie. Ahí está con los safeties.
Sí, viene con mucha paciencia, muy buen paso, mucha técnica y parece sentirse bastante cómodo.
Sí, esperemos que lo logre. Yo sé que sí. Tengo mucha fe en Alfredo.
Le faltan solo 10 metros. Estos metros son importantes, llevar un paso relajado porque es la mayor expansión de los pulmones.
Ahí se está recuperando bien. Falta quitarse la pinza, hacer la señal.
Una señal limpia y
Super
decir verbalmente, I'm okay.
Muy fuerte, muy fuerte. Looked very good on that.
15 segundos después de que la vía aérea sale del agua, debe haber terminado este protocolo. Ahora le pedirán que enseñe su tarjeta de testigo que llegó al fondo y debe esperar, a partir de que su vía aérea sale del agua, 30 segundos en total control en la superficie.
Así es.
A little bit of question here from the judges. They're discussing. Oh no, it was a red card.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
No sabemos todavía que le dio la tarjeta roja, van a explicarle en este momento. Pudo ser que al salir una ola golpeara su vía aérea o a lo mejor tardó demasiado tiempo en ingresar la vía aérea al agua al inicio de su buceo, pero hasta que los jueces determinen no lo sabremos con seguridad.
Yeah, I don't know what that was. I don't know
muy buena
what that
marca.
was. Yeah.
Sin duda sigue siendo una buena marca personal para él, sobre todo en este tipo de competencia donde los nervios son muy fuertes, hay mucha gente, no todos logran su buceo, eso al final es difícil, pero esto sigue siendo una meta personal y aunque no cuente para competencia, él salió limpio.
We'll have to find out from the judges what the reason was for that. We couldn't tell from here. There must have been something wrong with how he did the protocol because I didn't.
Or maybe the way he started his dive.
Something, something was wrong. I don't know what it was.
En caso de que el atleta considere que la decisión no fue la adecuada, puede estudiar videos y hacer una protesta con un costo administrativo, pero que de ser cierto su alegata o su caso, puede recuperar esa marca.
Ojalá que sí.
So we've just been informed that it was a double start, meaning that he dipped at the start and then started again. That's unfortunate because that way you're disqualified before you even get to start.
Quiere decir que el inicio de la buceada es al meter la vía aérea al agua, pero él volvió a sacarla y después volvió a ingresarla para empezar su buceo. Quiere decir que él comenzó y terminó su buceo en 2 segundos y después hizo su inmersión.
Yeah, that's really sad. But he got in a good dive as a training dive, and he can certainly try that again. That would have been a national record for sure if he hadn't had that disqualification because there was nothing else wrong with that dive.
So Walid, I guess some French commentaries are.
Yeah, well, next time we've got coming up next. Yes, we will. We've got Thibaut from France. He's going to be doing an 85-meter dive in 2:30, and he's doing this with bifins. Just wants to do it as a training dive. And Walid can be talking to our French viewers. As I said, Walid's the man of many languages. He speaks Spanish, French, English, Arabic, Italian, you name it. And he was even speaking Polish to our head judge.
And slang.
Slang.
It's absolutely amazing to me. I can't believe it.
I'm getting confused now with all those mix of languages.
We had Remy and up here earlier with Stéphane, and they were doing some commentary in French. So go ahead and do this in French for our French viewers, Walid.
Bonjour à tous nos interlocuteurs en France et toutes les personnes francophones qui nous écoutent. Donc Thibaut est en train de commencer sa plongée en ce moment. Il y va à la bipalme, donc l'objectif est à 85 mètres en 2 minutes 30. Donc on voit que Thibaut a une super bonne technique sur la descente. On voit la manière dont il progressivement diminue la fréquence du palmage, s'adaptant un peu à la pression. Et là, c'est le début du free fall, de la chute libre, à une très bonne vitesse, 1,3 mètres par seconde. Super bonne position du corps. Thibaut est un apnéiste très technique qui a toujours été très conservateur et attentif à ses marques précédentes, ses perfs précédentes. On peut voir la superposition qu'il a pour la chute libre et il arrive au fond, le carton.
So Walid, would you say with bifins that is more difficult with bifins than it is with the monofin?
Oh, it's absolutely more difficult for sure.
It is interesting that he's not changing the technique. He's just using the bifin technique. Sometimes when it's a lot of depth you're pushing on those fins, you can do dolphin kick and then bifin kick, and you alternate the muscles you're using. But in this case, he's just doing the proper bifin technique all the way up.
Anyways, it's very strong to bike kick from 85 meters. I guess Thibaut must be feeling the high lactic acid in his legs right now.
That looks like he's getting a little bit. You can see that he's going a little bit wide, maybe a little wobbly even.
But he's strong. He's very strong. He's with the safeties now.
No, he's not having any trouble. It just looks like his legs might be sore.
Yeah. And this still counts as a constant weight general dive.
Does.
Eventually, they will probably separate the two different disciplines, but he's having a very strong dive. It seems to be very enjoyable for him, and he's just racing with a buoyancy to the surface.
Very technical, reaching the surface with no problem.
He needs to turn around. He did.
Yeah, it's okay.
We'll wait here now for what the judges have to say.
Yeah, let's see.
Seems a very strong dive.
Looked good from here. It was a strong dive. Just like sometimes though there's something we don't see that happens. We have a big water cooler kind of blocking our view here.
It's also very important for anyone interested in competing to not just wait for the last big profile competition they can reach.
Yeah, it's like
Good.
nice
You need
dive.
to work all the details together so
Yeah.
you don't get minor details to disqualify you in big competitions. You want to know the environment, you want to know the feeling.
Yeah.
Bien joué Thibaut.
Yeah, nice
Profondeur
job.
validé. Excellent.
Excellent for Thibaut. Oh, next up on
Bring it
the. Thank you,
welcome,
Pepe.
thank you.
Congratulations. Next up on the blue platform, we have Marcus Helm from Austria, and he's announced an 80-meter dive in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. He's preparing. He's relaxing on his noodle, getting ready, and we're gesturing over to Alfredo now, giving him our. I don't know what to say, condolences, I suppose, for something wrong. I'm sure he's disappointed in that because it really was a nice dive. But we do have some technical things, as we do in a lot of sports, Waleed. You know, it's not that freediving is more or less, picky technically than other sports. You know, when you watch sports on TV of any sort, where sometimes you see different penalties, and you don't understand what they are, and it's just because if you don't do that sport, sometimes it doesn't make much sense. But we do have some rules that have come in for various reasons over the years, and it usually happens from something specific that happened, and then someone decides they need to make a rule about that. So we go through the rules periodically and try to change them. We were talking earlier with Remy and Johnny and saying now that the dives have become so deep, maybe we need to evolve a little bit and simplify the process of the surface protocol. My advice on that is to get together a group of divers who are strong in rules knowledge and technical ability and come up with a plan and see what they want to do. AIDA International is an assembly of national members, and no one can individually change anything. It all has to be voted on and approved by a majority of the members. So, even if Waleed and I decided that something needs to be changed, we can't make that decision. So we don't have, no one has that power. It is a group decision, and it's a democratic vote that takes place. So things move kind of slowly because of that, just like in your own country where they're trying to get laws changed and you got one group fighting with another group. We have the same thing that happens with us. So.
Yeah, there was some discussion about some of the rules, like facing the judge and stuff like that. But as you said, usually, these rules are meant to make the sport more safer, and they're meant for some reason. So.
Yeah, a lot of it's to keep, maybe younger divers who are just starting from making too much of a bold decision on their depth, and we don't want them to think that, oh gee, I don't really have to do much. I think I can make it to the surface, and this is to show that they're strong when they make it to the surface, not just that they made it. So
exactly.
And so here goes Marcus. He's descending now. He's got a monofin on, which we just saw Blythen's dive. Now we're back to the monofin, which is the most common thing here now in this discipline, because it does take less energy, but it is something that can be difficult to learn for some people.
Oh, it is absolutely. Monofin swimming, usually, it's a sport, is a branch of swimming that usually people take some years to master and to learn. We freedivers started using it some years ago, and it, as you said, it's much more efficient than a bifin when we're going deep. Still, using it correctly and efficiently is not as easy, and it takes some time. So I know Marcus has been working on his technique in the pool a lot, and you could see he had a nice one actually when going down. So
yeah, he's getting close to the plate. He's on, and there he is. So he's making his depth, he's grabbing his tank. That was a very nice turn too. He seemed very relaxed. He wasn't worried. Yeah, it looked nice. So, would you agree that a very good way to train and learn monofin is in the pool?
Yeah, I would say so, because it's more, in confined environments, easier to correct things like the technique and do some easy to control tables, and we can focus on the technique more efficiently. So I think it's a very good background to have some years of monofin swimming.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't live close to the ocean, you shouldn't think that you can't be a freediver, because we have a completely different set of competition that is pool only, with 3 disciplines in that. Static apnea, which is you just hold your breath in the pool. The current world record is an amazing 11 minutes and 35 seconds for men. And then we have dynamic apnea, which is how many lengths of the pool you can do with the monofin, and dynamic apnea without fin, which is like breaststroke underwater. So, but all of those, training those, will help you to be a depth diver as well.
So Mark is reaching the surface. He has to be careful with his protocol. He's having some.
He's having a little bit of a struggle.
I don't know.
We don't know. We'll have to see what the judges say about that. That was a little bit messy.
Should have taken his time a little bit, because he.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the judges say about that. Yeah, that wasn't as clean as we would like. So.
I think there's something with the order of the.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Let's see what they say. Junko Kitohama Radek from Poland. Let's see what they say. Oh, it was. He managed it. It wasn't the most beautiful protocol, but he made his way through it. So good for Marcus. That's a white card for him. Sometimes we call that a small white card, because it's not the most stunning performance on the surface, but he made it. He fulfilled the requirements. So coming up next on the white platform, we have Ken Kuriyama of Denmark. Ken has announced 83 meters and a dive time of 2:20. We'll have to see how Ken does today. He tends to struggle with equalization problems, and sometimes turns early, but hopefully he will be successful today. We just have to wait and see.
Yeah, let's hope he do it. I know it's a depth that's well within his range. He did it many times in the past. As you said, sometimes Ken has some, or maybe had turn in some occasions because of equalization problems he reported, but I'm sure he will find the relaxation and peace of mind he needs to make it.
I don't think there's any freediver who has ever not had a struggle with equalization, clearing the ears at one time or another. Unfortunately, we have all had that problem, and I don't think I can name anyone who at some point doesn't have a problem. Like Dave Mullins has had problems with it for years, even though he had a beautiful 126 meter dive today. He said he had absolutely no trouble equalizing, but in the past training this last week, he turned early on several dives. He couldn't equalize, and today it all clicked for him right at the right time, which is fabulous. But don't feel bad if you're struggling with that. We have instructors like Waleed and Johnny Sunex and some others who are experts in teaching you how to overcome some of these problems. So if you're interested and you need some help, we have them listed on our website, aidainternational.org. You can contact them and sign up for a course or personal coaching, just in one thing or another. They have all kinds of options to help you, and they would be happy to do so. They teach in different areas and different parts of the world. Sometimes they travel. Just contact them and tell them you're interested and you'd like to get started on freediving.
A lot of times people think they might have some problem anatomically, or but usually, and I think 98% of the cases, it's technically
just a
related.
Technique. Yeah, and it is tricky. It's really tricky, and once you get it, though, it's like it opens up a whole new thing. So
exactly.
Ken's on his back now. He's got his monofin. He's got a coach. He's getting ready to go, and he's in. We're just waiting now. As soon as he takes off, we'll have a look at this and see how he's doing. And there he goes. He rolls over towards the line, which is usually the way people do it. And he's off.
Ken has a very ample movement while kicking with the monofin. It's really nice to see, and he's starting his... Okay, he has a change in his technique. Now he's putting his arms alongside the body. and calmly reaching the free fall zone. Not yet.
Yeah, but it's good. He doesn't
There
look
you
like
go.
he's over anxious. He looks nice. He's come to 45 meters now.
And always looks very relaxed.
Yeah, and let's hope that he doesn't have something happen here with an ear that sticks. I don't know if some of our viewers, if you've ever been on an airplane and you get an ear that sticks, that's that feeling. It's very uncomfortable. And that's what we're hoping to avoid here. Sometimes, no matter what you do, it just will not.
Yeah.
Alongside the dive, at different depths,
Oh,
you use different
yeah,
techniques.
there he is.
That was an early time at
76
76 meters.
76 or so. Yeah, so that just as we were saying that, you know,
Every freediver will have a different struggle at different stages. Some people have a bigger problem equalizing, some people have a bigger problem arriving fresh at the surface. He's having a really quick pace.
Yeah, that's
I think
Speedy up.
he's probably really upset right now, and he
Maybe.
just wants to get this dive over with.
Yeah.
Not happy that he didn't get to his full depth, and we all know how that feels too. It's really frustrating. It's really frustrating.
It is.
This kind of competition gathers up all the balance you carry on technique, enjoyment, what the experience means to you, and sometimes this gets frustrated by a little detail that didn't work out the way you expected. But at the end of the day, there's always a second chance, and the important part is enjoying every dive and,
Yeah,
and
and
the
not
environment.
and not bursting your eardrums in the process, because that's the alternative. If your ears aren't going to open up, you can rupture an eardrum, and you can have a permanent injury from that doesn't heal, which is really not good.
He can still get some points if he does a clean protocol on
Yeah.
the surface.
Yeah, and he's going to go through it. That's
Fresh, and he's
good.
alright.
Yeah, it was easy for him.
So we'll just wait and see if the judges give him his yellow card, and he will be on the scoreboard that way with some points.
Kenny's a very strong freediver. He actually has his constant no fins PB very close to his constant weight, which usually emphasizes that his struggle is with equalizing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's a strong freediver.
Yellow card, no tag.
Yep.
Team short.
Yeah. Yellow, early
Still
turn,
a good
and tag.
achievement.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still, it's some points, so that's always nice. And so over here now on the blue platform, we have somebody quite well known to us in this region, our only Honduran competitor, Eduardo Andrade. He's going for a national record, 71 meters. He's had a very good competition thus far.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're really happy to have him here representing Honduras. And getting these records. We first met him a couple years ago here in this competition, and he was doing 30 meters or something?
Yeah, he started on the Honduran records. And
Yeah.
he's been pushing them high.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite impressive.
It is impressive. I remember first meeting him, and he was just a beginner, and he came here competing with William Trubridge and Waleed and Pepe Alwadi, who were.
And he's
you
also
know,
a very, very warm person.
He
You know, it's
is.
very warming to bump into him
He
again.
is, and he's just a great friend to a lot of freedivers. He's really outgoing, always smiling, positive guy. Really fun to be around.
On his last dive, he actually took the tag from the bottom,
Yeah.
lost it halfway up,
Yeah.
stopped to grab it again, find it without being able to see anything because you don't wear a mask. Grabbed it again and came back to the surface properly.
It
a
was
very good
very
dive.
impressive. After watching that, I thought he could go a lot further, because that is extremely stressful and disruptive when something like that happens.
Yeah.
So yeah, we posted that video because I thought I was really impressed with it, and I wanted everyone to see that what he did there. It was close to the surface, but you think, gosh, I made it the whole way and I lost my tag. And by the way, in the rules, if you don't have a tag, that's a yellow card, and no yellow card can be a national record. So he wanted to get that tag.
Right.
So he's getting ready to go now, and I'm just really, I just am really impressed with how much he's improved. I mean, he's made just huge improvements in this. 71 meters is, a really good depth for those of you that are just beginning.
Yeah.
This is quite the accomplishment.
Most songs we will hear in the car or anything we're doing will be around 3 minutes, give or take a few. So these dives are, even when everybody's doing these numbers, it's a very serious thing. It takes a while to handle the pressure, the equalizing, the enjoyment, and the proper apnea to pull it out. But it's a very interesting feeling. It gives you a trip not only around and to the depth, but into you. So it's a very refreshing sport, and people who find it can choose if it's just an every now and then thing or it becomes a lifestyle. And everybody here kind of understands that, and it's something that binds us together, even when we're coming from all over the world, from all different freediving schools, but all sharing the same very exciting experience.
And Ricardo's off. He was having a little trouble on the surface with the swell. I'm hoping that it didn't look like he may have dipped a little bit, but it may be that it was just the swell and not him. I hope that that's all right. We'll have to wait and see what the judges say.
He's relaxing on the free fall now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little past 40 meters almost. He's going quick. His dive time is 33 right now, going 45 meters.
And there you can see the time down at the bottom, Pepe. He's at 0.7 meters per second, so he is moving along well. Now it's 1 meter per second.
Yeah.
And for men, that's pretty much what they try to accomplish about that speed.
Yeah.
So,
Let's see how he equalizes. Seems like he's struggling.
just a little bit. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and
Early
he's going
turn.
to turn. We could kind of see that he was having a little trouble. Yeah, it's
He
equalization.
quite a lot of times too on the rope.
Yeah.
So in this discipline, you're not allowed to use the rope in any way other than using it for your turn and pulling once. But this is only allowed close to the bottom plate, 2 meters above it. In this case, he used it above that deck. So that's gonna mean
Yeah, and he's only allowed the one pull. If the judges see this on the film, that would be a disqualification. So, but he may not care because he probably wants this to be a complete dive anyway. So,
some people come here pushing for a medal. Some people come here pushing for a personal best, and some people come here for country or continental records. So everybody has different goals in which it is worth or not to risk bigger depths.
yeah. But I'm sure he's disappointed because he turned early. So.
Big breath. Big breath.
He's always very strong at the surface.
Yes.
Keep breathing. Keep breathing.
You can.
That
he
might
dipped
have
his
been a
airways.
dip.
Yeah. Now, if you dip because of a wave or that can be determined right on the surface by the judges, or if they're not sure, they may call the red card for the dip, and then you can look at it and review under protest.
Especially
So,
unreasonable waves.
Yeah.
We have a lot of boats driving by,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. They're talking about it now, whether that was a wave dip or whether that was. Oh, now they're going to give him a yellow.
that is a yellow card.
Yeah. They will have to look at the bottom footage on that, though it looked like he may have had more than one pull. So,
So he's
it'll
not
be
getting his
interesting
national
to see.
record. but
Yeah,
he
it's
definitely
not a
did.
national record, but so we'll have to find out later how that goes. So now coming up on the white platform on the opposite side, we have Ariel Kedmi from Israel. He's been here training the last few weeks as a safety diver, and now he's doing some competition dives. He's announced 80 meters and a dive time of 2 minutes and 35 seconds.
Yeah, both
So-
Ariel and his girlfriend Gabby have helped a lot, especially last year. Interesting fact about them, they rescued a dog that had very heavy issues with other dogs. He would be a very aggressive dog with other dogs, but he was very nice to people. So they've been working on him, and the dog actually gets along with dogs he gets to know, and they've been seeing a lot of progress. So it's very nice to see devoted people that they've traveled quite a bit with the dog, and you can imagine that's very difficult with a problematic dog, but they've found a way together to get it somewhere, you know.
Oh, that's nice. Well, let's see. I'm hoping that the other day he turned early on his dive. Let's see if he can get his equalization together today and make his 80 meters.
If anybody wants to follow them further, their Instagram is Blue Cheetah, and they're very strong on freediving teaching and yoga also.
That's great. Yeah, I have not met him before. I do know some of the Israeli competitors. We've had Shlomi and Yaron Huri and Aaron, and Aaron Galid also. You remember him? He's competed.
Yeah, sure.
And so we've had a number of competitors from Israel, but I have not met Ariel before. But it's nice to have him here and helping with the safety in the previous competition.
Ariel has been helping us during the trainings.
Oh, that's great.
Very nice guy and a strong freediver too. And he's been training here in Roatan, so he knows the place quite well and conditions.
Yeah, they have in Eilat, Israel. There's kind of a freediving center there, so they've been doing some training and working on things and coming to competitions. They were in Cyprus because that's a very close trip for them. Cyprus, actually, you think maybe it's in Greece. It is not. It's right off the coast of Israel and Syria. It's a very short flight for them to come there. So we're this year with this competition here in Honduras. It's very nice for all of us in this part of the world. We have, and previously, as we had said earlier in these broadcasts, most of our competitions are in Europe. But it's nice to have it here, and we'll try to do one coming up in maybe Philippines, Indonesia, something like that would be great for that region as well. They do have competitions. We just haven't had a world championship there.
Well, the temperature is much warmer in any case.
Yeah, and one thing about the Mediterranean is that unfortunately it's pretty fished out. You don't see many fish, and it always kind of makes me sad. You don't even see any birds there because of it. So we have beautiful fish here on the reef. There's a gorgeous reef right here in front of us, which is really great.
Yes.
One thing that we consider as freedivers is environmental factors, because we're in the ocean so much. You become very aware of plastic trash and all the other things that are affecting our ocean. Here he is. He's going into his free fall. And
very nice start with the free fall.
Yeah.
It's
also
also
with the hands, with the arms.
It's very clear. Some freedivers sacrifice a little bit of streamline as long as they're relaxed. Some people like to watch it. Remember, your free fall is super neat, like a needle.
Yeah, I like to be very, very streamlined. I know I lose a little bit of relaxation. Like you said, it's a balance between the two.
Of myself, I definitely think of myself as a drunken frog falling into the depth. I'd like to work better on my technique, but
that's the Rana Baracha technique, would we say?
Yeah, but eventually get better. He's having some equalization trouble.
Yeah, he's going to turn it. It looks like 71 meters. Looks like he was pretty close, though. You know? Yeah.
At some points, freedivers find certain walls that they need to reach on muscle, handling, or a certain particular point in depth. And until you find everything a hold of it, you can consistently break those walls. For me, it was close to those depths for a little while. And he seems to be enjoying himself.
You'll hear us call out early turn. You'll hear it from this boat and from the safety team. The reason that they call that out is because the safeties know that they have to leave earlier than they had expected because the diver will be coming sooner. So it's all about the timing. We time every dive, and the safeties leave at a specific time in order to meet them at the depth that they want to join them. So that's why it's important that all of this is done. It's more complicated than it appears. These things just don't happen without a lot of advanced preparation.
Interestingly, he removes the nose clip before he arrives on the surface.
So he saves some time to do his protocol.
Yeah, and maybe we were watching Alin Wang today, and he's had trouble doing his protocol. He can't get that nose clip off, and we were all thinking, well, maybe he should take it off before he surfaces, then he won't have to think about that. So if everything else is all right, this will be a yellow card for Ariel.
Might need to go coach.
All right.
Simmons, Frank.
All right. Let's see. Do you have somebody that you need to? Frank? Yeah. He's the last diver on the white crab.
So.
All right. So Ariel, everything was good except for the early turn. So that's good. So Waleed's going to leave us right now. Thank you for joining us, and we're glad to see you're well and everything is going good.
Thank you very much.
I'm sure all of our watchers are happy to see that you're fine because they were probably wondering. But if he wasn't fine, I would have told you. Believe me, I knew he was. He contacted me, and everything was good. So.
Yeah, I'm totally fine now. Thank you very much.
Yeah, glad to see you, and glad to have you back, Wally.
All right.
So go out there. He's going to get out in the water and coach one of his friends. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Coming up now on the blue platform, we have another Japanese competitor. The Japanese have quite a strong group here. You know, with the Japanese, they don't seem to mind how far it is. They go. We always have a large team coming from Japan, which is really great. They're just such dedicated freedivers of all levels. You know, the girls are just so strong in the world record category, and the men are kind of coming along. They lost their team leader. He retired, Ruzo Shinomiya, who was a very deep diver, and last year or so he decided he was going to retire. Still hope he might come back, but haven't heard much from him lately. This is Naoto Yoshikawa. He's announced 71 meters in 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And let's see how he does today, Pepe.
Yeah, this whole group of freedivers coming from Japan are very interesting to talk to, because some of them will understand better English, some won't understand English at all, but the rest of them will translate, and it's very interesting to teach them some Spanish and learn some Spanish from them, because the accent is very similar. So at the end of the day, we repeat what they say, and it sounds very similar to the right thing, and they will repeat our Spanish very, very properly.
That's
also
interesting, because some of our other people that I've tried to help with a few Spanish words, being that I'm from California, we hear a lot of Spanish, of course, because we've got such a large population of Latin descent of one sort of another.
Slowly taking over.
Yeah, well, they already have. We have more Latins in the state than any other group. We're used to hearing it, but for others, like the Germans or something, or with Radic, they cannot.
Yeah, vocalizing is different.
Yeah, they can't.
And they're also very happy all the time. They seem to be enjoying every moment.
And they're not complainers. They don't complain about things, you know.
Yeah. So. And every little culture, every different country that you bump into will have their different interaction with others. They're very warming. They're very welcoming. So this is within the official top. He can now start his dive, packing the last few tips.
And he rolls towards the line and starts.
It is important to keep your hands very clear from the rope before you put your airways in, otherwise it'll count as a grab.
Yes, and if your hand is at or above the water, it's okay, but if it's below the water, that will be a penalty. And if you pull, that's actually a disqualification.
Yeah, his
so
technique
you
seems
have
very
to
clean,
be very
very
careful. You have to, and you know, one thing that's important for our newer freedivers is that we mentioned earlier about some things you should practice, and one of the things you should practice is your start.
Definitely.
Sometimes we forget about those things.
Exactly. Just like you should visualize, going to the movies, you need to take your time, be in time. If you're going to buy popcorn, have the tickets or buy them online. If you're going to pick up somebody else before you get there, you need to visualize all of these factors. It happens the same with a freediving day. You need to visualize where you're going to go, if there's going to be a current, who you're going with, what gear you need. And then every single dive, because you need to be ready for things coming before they come, so they don't bump into you. If there's a thermocline, which is a changing water temperature.
I guess there's a small one here.
Yeah, there's a mild one, but if you're not expecting it, it can be a shock that will make you stress a little bit, and your equalizing will be tough.
And he's coming down to the plate. He's
easily
moving
to the plate. He's chewing on it. I think I bumped into the plate also. He's like, whoop, right here. So the first few meters on your way back are a little bit tougher because your buoyancy is negative, which means your lungs and your suit are pretty back a lot compressed, and your weight is negative. Eventually you come closer to the surface, that starts going back to normal, and above 10, for some people 15 meters, you'll be buoyant, which means you stop swimming, you'll slowly raise. And these last few meters closer to the surface, the pressure in your lungs expands, so it drops a little bit. If you do it too quickly, that last little bit of swimming up, it can cause a shallow water blackout, which also happens freediving and in spearfishing and every other.
Yeah, and that's why we were saying it's always important to have a buddy, and a buddy who knows what they're doing.
Exactly.
Not just anybody, because they may not recognize that there's
very
a problem.
important to difference. It is different going with several people somewhere and everybody being alone than actually watching each other closely. You got to be on top of those 30 seconds. The judges judge on somebody should also be watched over a spearfisher or any other kind of freediver.
Yeah, it's and here he comes to the surface now.
And it's
See
to
how he
turn
is.
around,
Yeah,
see the judges,
he needs to
face
turn
the
around.
judges.
He's got a coach telling him.
Nose to it. Yeah.
There he
And
is.
say it. This seems to be a very clean dive.
Yeah. Now he just has to wait for the decision. Scott Braddock right in front of him, and Junko.
He has a tag.
Yep.
You're waiting for the
Oh,
white
he will
card.
not. He will not. I had brought this up earlier. Junko will not be judging him on this dive because this is the World Championship. So it's John Wright. Very nice. World Championships, a fellow countryman is not allowed to judge you. You have to have independence. You can't be judged by someone from your own country for fear of some kind of bias. So we just rotate the judges around so that it's somebody from some other country.
It's actually very nice here that we have a Mexican.
We got a big diversity.
Yeah. And we have the Mexican doctors team.
We
so,
do.
So it's very enjoyable to have fellow Mexicans cheering for everyone.
Yeah, we have a
helping in a big
Mexican
organization.
doctor, we have a Colombian doctor, and
yeah.
we have a Russian doctor. So
Yeah, that's right.
we can pretty much cover, and our Russian doctor speaks Russian, English, and Spanish. He speaks Spanish as well. So we have excellent safety and excellent medical here. We have the most advanced equipment that we can possibly have. It's all right here on the platform. We have a mini emergency room, really, and we are able to handle anything in the event of some.
Everybody's very ready for everything.
Yeah, and in the event of an unforeseen circumstance, you never know. I was at a competition one time when someone had a reaction to something and went into anaphylactic shock. And just because of some ocean creature or something like that, and you just never know. You never know. We're out here, we're with nature, and you never know what might happen. So we have to be prepared, and they've got all kinds of medicine and all kinds of equipment in order to deal with these things in the event that something occurs. So, being that we're away from shore, and the shore, even when we get there, is 25 minutes from the hospital, we make sure that we can treat everything right here. And you're really the safest you're going to be being here with these three doctors that we have. They're all trained emergency medicine doctors.
And also, it almost never comes down to that. If you do everything properly, none of that should come up. And even in the event of something happening, if you do things properly, the different factors that make an emergency worse or better need to be visualized beforehand. This means that anything that happens can be dealt with properly, and it's not going to have worse thing happen to make it a bad experience. Any emergency can be belittled. That's one of the most special things of these competitions, that there's particularly specific
planning.
people
very
thinking
good
of everything.
Planning. Yeah, that's what we try to do. We try to have everything covered in advance. It's not, you can't do anything last minute. We have very strict guidelines on the type of physician that must be present, the list of equipment, so this is not something that somebody in the middle of nowhere just takes up and decides, oh, let's have a free dive competition. There is very strict guidelines to make this happen.
So this is Adam Sellers wearing a Pure Sim freediving suit, one piece. Some of the divers actually use two-piece suits. For my personal taste, I like one-piece suits. I'll have a zipper in the back, same as Adam Sellers, and I don't have a hoodie. I just wear a swimming cap on. Some people will prefer the hoodie because it gives them more streamlined shape. But at the end, taking that two-piece suit off is a drag. Like, people can hold their breath for 8 minutes, but don't get caught in your suit because you're dying in there.
I prefer a one-piece suit and a swim cap as well, and I think it's because I'm a swimmer. I just don't like all that wetsuit.
And technology is so stretchy now; it's very comfortable.
Yeah, I think the one-piece suit is very stretchy and much more flexible, and I think that's what I prefer.
Something very interesting of Adam is his muscle mass. You know, he's a very big guy, just like Alexei. He obviously has to have a bigger depth of relaxation of every muscle of his body, so he doesn't spend all that oxygen through his dive. But he seems to be very relaxed, very comfortable. He's out reaching for the tag. He got the tag, and he's having a streamlined position since the beginning, so he's very comfortable at depth. When freedivers are reaching at bigger depth, they're going to watch their lungs and they're stretching very much. something I didn't watch very well the other day when I was pulling after 80. But at the end, if you're comfortable with your stretchiness, you can do that kind of things. He's very strong. He's
Kicking very
energically
fast.
kicking. Yeah, met the first safety.
At these depths that aren't quite as deep as what we were seeing earlier today, the safeties do not dive quite as deep to meet the diver. It's not necessary. So they're conserving their energy to get through the end of the day.
Breathing properly.
And there he comes up. That
Did
looks
a
like a nice
proper sign.
Looks like a nice protocol from
Yeah.
Adam. He's one of our newer divers. I haven't met him before. This is the first time. I know he's excited to be here.
We need to update that picture because he actually did a little bit of a mustache going on.
Well, you never know with the guys, with or without facial hair.
One of the most difficult things of being in these dives
That's
is
a white
that-
card for Adam.
Oh, yeah,
nice,
that's a
nice
clean
job.
dive. One of the difficult parts is you meet so many people from all over the world that you don't come back, you never see them again. So, welcome. How was it?
I really thought this one I have it.
All right.
I guess
But it was enjoying.
it was
all around?
enjoying.
All right.
We
good.
have Ariel joining us now, and we
Hello.
just watched him dive in a little bit of an early turn there.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was happening? A little
Swallowed the
equalization.
mouthful.
Lost his mouthful. Let's explain to our viewers what that is. Like when we've talked a little bit about mouthfill. Mouthfill is part of our equalization technique that we need to use in order to equalize the depth. You get to a certain depth, which for most people is around 50 meters, and you no longer can equalize. So you have to learn how to do this technique we call mouthfill. And even then, once you've learned it, you can have some problems. And Ariel, tell us about this swallowing the mouthfill. What happened here?
Well, it comes when the pressure is increasing on the body and the pressure is increasing on the lungs, and a little bit of maybe tiredness, and basically the diaphragm just wants to get the air back from your mouth into the lungs, and with a split second of not being focused to what you're doing, and it just whoop, goes back.
There's that air back in, and frequently I know with some of my students they come up and there's this huge burp,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
you
this is
know,
what
and then,
happens.
then you'll
Every
say,
single time.
and you'll see this, and you'll say, and I say to them, you swallowed the mouthful,
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
you? And they said, yeah.
Yeah, so the very specific muscles that control the throat and the soft palate and the equalizing techniques are very often coordinated together. And part of the mouthfeel is difficult because the glottis has to stay closed when you steal air from the lungs before that air is not available because of pressure. And you keep it in your mouth,
Yeah.
and then you keep equalizing that, but you need to keep the glottis closed so that doesn't go back to the mouth, to
You have to
the
keep
lungs or
that
the stomach.
closed, but then keep the
And keep the
glottis
opening.
open,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then try to move that air up.
Yeah. So
It's a
the soft
complicated
palate allows
process.
it to go to the nose and the ears and the sinuses.
Yeah.
But you have to keep those muscles tight for a certain amount of time, or
Yeah,
relax them
it's-
and open them every time you need to equalize. So if you don't have the proper handling, or with time, with
lose the
stress,
focus just
you
a
lose the
little bit.
focus
Just a little
moment.
bit, and
Yeah.
remember, you're upside down when you're trying to
Oh,
do
yeah.
all this. You know,
that air is
that's-
trying to
yeah.
go back to your
Yeah.
lungs.
One way to learn how to do this technique, and if you train with someone who's a good instructor, they will have you go down the line pre-immersion feet 1st.
Mm-hmm.
Learn how to do it head up first, because that way the air is wanting to stay up this way rather than being upside down where it's going the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And if you can learn the technique with your head up, then you can move around and learn it going down. So, and I
And
know
also,
for me, I had to learn that way.
When you
because
have the
it just
mouth
didn't
feel,
come easy for me.
you start pressing it and you start using it, it goes smaller. So at some point you need to readjust where the air sits in the mouth. And all these muscle moving, all this will sometimes make the wrong muscle open up and whoop. And it can also be swallowed little by little every time you equalize. So there's very many challenges.
This is the dinner talks
Yeah.
and the lunch talks.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm quite new in the competitive aspect of it, but I see everybody from the 100-meter plus to the 50-meter. It's all about what happened with the mouthfeel. How are you doing? What is the secret?
Yeah.
And it happens to everyone. We were saying earlier, it happens to Dave Mullins, it happens to William Trubridge. It don't feel like you're alone and that it's just because you're not good enough. It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
let's go back over here to the blue platform now. We have Shuichi Goto, who is our last diver on that. He's from Japan. He's announced 70 meters in 2:45. Ariel, while you've been here as a safety diver before, have you watched some Shuichi do some dives and practice?
Barely. I had 3 days when I stopped the safeties until the first competition, and then one more day of training, which obviously also was building up to this. Next competition for sure, gonna put more time for myself.
Yeah, definitely. It's very hard to do both things. It is good training though. Safety is.
Oh,
Talk about getting in condition. If you are not strong enough, you're not going to be able to get through being a safety diver. It is extremely demanding on the body and mentally as well, because you know what, the safety of these people is in your hands. Absolutely, you have to pay attention. You have to be focused. You have to watch every time.
Yeah,
it's just
120%.
It's very.
But it becomes a very, very powerful bond, because these are people that you're just not bumping into in the competition and just thank you for safety and taking back home, you know? It's like you bump into them at lunch, you talk, there's a early turn for
it looks like maybe 50 something, he turned early, he's on his way back, so for whatever reason he's just not feeling it today. Could have a blocked ear, who knows, and he's on his way back up. That's unfortunate.
These safety divers become like really good friends. You bump into them at lunch, we talk to them, and you keep in touch, and it's very interesting to have that, like dropping all your peace of mind on people you actually know. You know they care for you, you know they're qualified, they're very strong free divers, and they do hundreds of dives a day.
Oh yeah,
it's a tough work.
Average when we started was about 6, 7, sometimes more hours in the water every day.
It's a very long day.
Good word for these guys. Like everything is completely volunteering. And they all, some of them got injured on the way, but you see, they come to the platform with bandages.
And it's been kind of funny injuries. We had Marinos who got some kind of weird infection in his hand, and Victoria cut her foot. We've just had some
injury.
So here's Shuichi. Unfortunately, early turn. The best he can hope for is a yellow card with that, and I'm sure he's disappointed. But
they're very structured freedivers. Their training is very structured. Their behavior is very by the book.
He's always very polite. I always enjoy him. He always bows to me after I give him the card, no matter what card it is. That's just part of their.
They're very respectful.
Yellow card, very respectful. So coming up, our very last dive of an extremely exciting day today with men's constant weight. We have Francisco Juan Gutierrez, Frank, as he's affectionately known here. He just always calls himself Frank. He's going for a national record for Guatemala. Guatemala is one of our new groups here participating just because of this convenient location in Central America.
Yeah, so Amerigo, Francisco's brother, had been here before, but not competing. He was here learning freediving. And Frank, who is an actual very, very talented cave diver, has been freediving since January.
Wow,
he learned freediving in Amancay, in Playa del Carmen, with Lucre and Cande, and he's enjoyed it very much. But he's very structured in his learning, as he is with a cave diving instructor.
Yeah,
and he wears a noodle that is pink and the nose clip that is pink, together with all of his cave diving equipment, because a very dear friend of his had breast cancer, and she fought it. Very strong person, and she made it. She made it through. Great. So he remembers those top moments by wearing pink.
That's nice as a tribute to her. Yeah. So today Frank is going for 70 meters, which is the national record. His brother Amerigo is his discipline is free immersion, and Frank is the constant weight diver of the two brothers. So Amerigo got the record in free immersion, and now let's see if Frank can get a white card on this dive. We have Adam Sellers joining us now. Adam, come on over and tell us about your dive.
Mr. Adam.
Frank asked me to in some Spanish
sure.
while he's there. Back in a minute.
All right.
Hello, Carla.
Hi, Adam. Well, what do you think?
Yeah, much better than the other day.
Much better. That looked good. Yeah, that was really nice. White card on a nice, strong 72-meter dive. And so, do you think maybe it's competition nerves, maybe getting used to it, or how would you describe your feelings today?
Yeah, no, I've been feeling all right actually. I suppose it comes with not my first competition, not having really any pressure on me to do anything. No one knows what depths I can do, so I just kind of jump in and have a go. And it's been really good. I've been spending a lot of time. I mean, Adam Stern's kind of my mentor.
Yeah.
So
the two Adams.
Yeah, I did his deep week, which is another one coming up soon.
Oh, great.
But his deep week, and been spending a bit of time at his house. So there's Michael Board, who's been giving me a few tips as well,
Well,
and
you
Alexi.
picked some good
yeah,
mentors,
I've got
that's
some
for
good
sure.
mentors. So. Yeah.
Well, that's great. So we're on our very last dive of an extremely exciting day today. I don't think we've ever seen anything like this in freediving before, where we had two competitors who announced the same depth, 126, huge dives. Both made those dives, so we're going to have, barring any sort of changes under review, which the judges will review everything when we go back to shore, look at all the films. We will have two gold medalists at 126 meters, which is just huge. It was. We have Dave, Big Dave, as we call him, Dave Mullins of New Zealand, and the world record holder Alexi Molchanov, and it's really something. So, can you imagine here? You come to your first competition, and this is where you're competing with these kinds of competitors. It's just amazing.
That's the best thing about freediving is, and they're such personable people too, and willing to help.
Podemos ver cómo Frank trae una técnica muy sutil. Su pataleo no es tan enérgico como en otros momentos o como otros buceos. Pueden ver cómo la ondulación empieza debajo de las costillas y se transporta hasta la aleta. Pero mientras más relajado, menos gasto innecesario hay. Es suficiente con ir a 1 metro, 1,1 metros por segundo. Lleva muy buen tiempo. Se puede ver cómo está tapando su boca con la mano para poder mantener un mouthfeel más apretado. Se lleva la mayor cantidad de aire en los cachetes, que es el aire que se usa para seguir ecualizando, y su postura en el freefall, que es una postura relajada, dejas de nadar y simplemente te entregas a la profundidad, es bastante derecha, se ve muy cómodo. Doblas un poquito las rodillas para que la aleta permita tu caída derecha hacia abajo, y si quieres acercarte o alejarte de la línea, simplemente guardas un poco la cabeza hacia el pecho o hacia la espalda. Su bajada se ve bastante limpia, está en el plato, buen giro, y viene de regreso, la guardó en el gorrito, ahí trae el tag de testigo. Se lleva un pataleo igual ligero, relajado, y eventualmente cuando los pulmones ya no están a tanta profundidad, se elevan los brazos para estar más streamlined, más hidrodinámico. Frank tiene una corpulencia también fuerte. Él usa su nose clip y el noodle con el que respira en la superficie de color rosa, al igual que todo su equipo de cueva. Es un buzo de cueva también. En honor a una amiga muy fuerte que luchó contra el cáncer de mama y lo venció. Es una amiga muy querida de Frank. Y podemos ver cómo hace homenaje con estos colores. También tiene un perrito French Poodle con Schnauzer que se llama Kuna. Es muy simpático, muy amistoso con todos y lo acompañó a este viaje. Frank es una persona muy compañera, muy buen amigo. Está bastante limpio, se quita el nose clip, señal, y lo dice, como si nada, fresco. Frank vive en Playa del Carmen y viaja frecuentemente a Guatemala. Le van a pedir si tiene la etiqueta. Tiene la etiqueta y es una tarjeta blanca.
He's doing a little William Trubridge move there with the tag in his mouth.
Bien. Good time, man. Very good time.
Great way to finish up the day. And that concludes our report for today. Congratulations again, Adam, on a beautiful dive. Are you going to be doing no fins?
Yes.
Good. We'll see Adam again then. That's great. Thank you for joining us today in an extremely exciting day in the conclusion of men's constant weight. Our unofficial gold medal winners will be Alexi Molchanov and Dave Mullins of New Zealand, and that will be pending any sort of review from the judges or any protests from anyone else. And the third place should be right now it stands as Morgan Borquise of France, but I'm expecting we might have some protests in that may or may not change. I don't know, but thank you so much for joining us. Tomorrow will be an off day, so we will be training and preparing. The following day will be women's constant weight, no fins. If you have any interest in learning more about freediving, please visit our website, aidainternational.org. Also our Facebook page, AIDA International Group, and announcements. We have several pages there. They will have the results on them so you can find out exactly what happens. The results will be posted at 7 o'clock tonight, Honduras time. Thank you so much, and we'll see you the day after tomorrow.